Minister Grace, if you're watching this video, when you're watching this video, I plead to you and implore to you to have mercy and not to raise carbon tax on the people of Singapore. If you don't raise carbon tax, I'll vote for PAP. If you still raise carbon tax, I will still vote for PAP. This is because I'm not a single issue voter, but this channel is a single issue non-political channel, and I only have time and resource to be active in one broad issue of environmentalism. Let's get into it. The original intent of the carbon tax is to divert Singapore away from the usage of fossil fuels. But the alternative to fossil fuels, namely renewable energy, is not comparable to fossil fuels. For example, renewable use 100 to 1,000 times more land than fossil fuels to produce the same megawatt of energy. Similarly, renewable energy plants uses 10 times more mined minerals than fossil fuels to produce the same megawatt of energy. If environmentalists really care about the environment, then they should not advocate for intensely mining the earth for materials to build solar and wind farms. Thirdly, renewables are intermittent and unreliable, and that makes them far more inferior compared to fossil fuels. It's not something we can control at the turn of a knob. Fourthly, labor productivity in the renewable industry pales in comparison to the fossil fuel industry. For example, in USA, in the year of 2020, each worker in the fossil fuel industry produced 9 times more electricity than each worker in the renewable industry. It is true that in Singapore, there's no solar energy plants, there's no huge solar farms because we connect our solar panels to our grid system. However, it still stands that there's no combination of inefficient energy that can be added to efficient energy that can be greater than 100% efficient energy. Pragmatism has always been the DNA of Singapore's governance. However, when the ideology of environmentalism takes over, we are not our usual self. There is climate change, but there is no climate emergency. Singapore is not going to save the world, neither is Singapore going to lead the world in environmentalism or ESG. Just look at Germany. Being the number 1 in solar and number 5 in wind, Germany achieved nothing but raising the price of electricity for their own citizens. As of today, Germany's electricity bill is the highest in Europe. Even with all the countries of the world stick to the Paris Agreement commitments, and let's assume that all the government in the world are effective, non-corrupt, competent, it will only achieve 1% in the global 1.5 degrees Celsius target. If it's a rising sea level that we are concerned about, then we will be comforted to know that the Pacific island nations and the island nations in the Indian Ocean experience land accretion over the last 50 to 100 years. Yes, small island nations like Tuvalu, Tuamotu, Marshall Islands, Diego Garcia, Grande Grosse have increased in size over the last 50 to 100 years while climate change is happening. Singapore itself has increased its size by 20% over the last 200 years. What I'm saying is that a few millimeters rise in sea levels per year is no cause for alarm. Local factors are far more important than a global sea level number, and also that we are extremely resilient to the rise in sea level. Moreover, climate-related deaths have fallen over 97% over the last 100 years, and that includes 2021's number, that includes the India's floods, the Afghan flash floods, the Chinese hurricane, the Indonesian hurricane, and so on. Lastly, if we look at global health priorities, poverty-related death stemming from factors like zinc deficiency, vitamin A deficiency, unsafe sex, unclean water, sanitation, hygiene, unmet contraceptive needs, indoor smoke from solid fuels, suboptimal breastfeeding, and iron deficiency. If you add this all up, these are all poverty-related deaths. They are 70 to 80 times larger than climate-related death. The bonus argument here for not raising carbon tax is that when we put our fist across our heart and when we tell our children to put their fist across their hearts 5 days a week, we say happiness, prosperity, and progress for the nation. Material progress for the nation. We do not put our fist across and say 30 by 30 and net zero commitments. Clearly, environmentalism, the ideology, is anti-happiness, anti-prosperity, and anti-material human progress. The green echo chambers are even talking about degrowth and negative GDP now. This is not the credo on which our nation is founded upon. The only thing that we should act accordingly is to the national pledge, not the green pledge. Subscribe to this channel. Also join my Telegram group where I deposit a whole ton of resources that rebuild the environmentalists. I'm always on open invitation to debate any environmentalist group in Singapore, be it the SG Climate Rally, Green Nudge, Singapore Youth for Climate Action, Climate Conversation, Fossil Free NUS, World Wildlife Fund Singapore, Centre for Responsible Future, Nature Society Singapore, Mother Earth Toastmaster Club. Just bring it. YouTube, I need you to help me to ask them to bring it. So YouTube, I need your help to gather enough momentum to make this happen. And when it happens, I promise I'll upload the debate online for your viewing pleasure. Most importantly, join this new movement to fight for humanity, show the environmentalists that they are not factually correct, they are not morally superior, and that we are too big and too smart to be bullied.